What's up, guys? It's Brandon Flash. We're here with a Rivian R1T, and we have 3 different supercharger adapters. Here's one of them, and we're going to test them out, and I'll give you some of my thoughts on whether you should actually consider getting one while you're waiting for your Tesla official adapter. So like I said, we're at a Tesla Supercharger. This is a version 3 site that is open to non-Tesla use. One way you can tell is they actually have a little QR code here that's been added to each post. You can also look on your Rivian navigation or your Ford navigation or on the Tesla app in the Charge Your EV section of the app. Not every version 3 Supercharger has been retrofitted with the capability to charge non-Teslas, but we're here at one that does. And we're parked in a spot that is not blocking any other EV drivers. So this spot becomes unusable for a Tesla driver, but that's fine. We're in a non-charging spot here. So if you were a Tesla, you'd park here, your driver rear would be right there. But in a Rivian with the driver front charge port, we're at the end. And this is where you should park if you have the option. Of course, you may not always have the option, but you could have another Ford or a Rivian right here using this one, and you'd still end up with a dead space. However, each charger post would still be utilized. So you'd still be able to have full utilization. So I think the concept of being on the wrong location as far as charge port is kind of wrong. As long as non-Tesla drivers park next to each other, you're not going to end up with half utilization. It gets a little bit tricky if Tesla drivers follow the every other stall rule, because then no stalls can actually be used for a non-Tesla. So I would say at version 3 sites, you can actually park next to each other with Teslas because you have site level load management. So it doesn't matter if you're next to another driver. You will still get full power, assuming it's available on a site level, but you're not going to be splitting power like you would on a version 2. Anyway, if you want to learn more about Tesla's version 3 supercharger architecture, I have dedicated videos for that, going through site design, site level load management, all that fun stuff. But today we're here to talk about adapters. So we have 3 adapters here. Unfortunately, we do not have any of the Tesla official adapters. So the one being provided by Rivian or Ford that's made by Tesla. I wish I had one here today, but I do not. However, I have used one of those and held one in my hand. So I'm familiar with how it is and some of the characteristics of it. So I can give some reference there. But we have one from A to Z. So a Canadian company that made these. This one's pretty chunky. Has a slide latch just like that, and is the most compact of all 3 of these, but we'll get into some of the characteristics here in a minute. We also have an adapter from Electron. So this one is the largest of the bunch. This one has spring latches on both sides. So CCS latch, of course, is spring loaded. That's normal. That's expected on all of them. This one also has a spring latch on the NACS side. This one has a spring latch up here on the CCS side. And this one is kind of a no-name one from a company called Hailing. I've done a little bit of preliminary testing on these, not on the vehicle. However, what I've done is that I wanted to check the safety of these. And the way that I did that is by checking whether using the latch on the CC or on the NACS side actually will stop charging. And I did that by checking the continuity between the proximity pilot signal. So on CCS or on NACS, you have control pilot, you have proximity pilot, you have a ground, and then you have your DC pins. And proximity pilot, so you'll see that those pins are shorter. And the reason that is because if this gets unplugged before power stops flowing, that will actually disconnect and stop charging before the DC pins are out to prevent or at least reduce the chances of arcing from live power flowing while that's disconnected. And it's important that if that proximity pilot is interrupted or the control pilot, that the charging actually stops. So what's cool about the Electron and the A to Z adapter is that there's actually an interlock. So if you open the latch on either of these, it actually will not charge. So it actually cuts that signal, it stops charging and makes it safe. However, this Hailing adapter, I cannot recommend. We'll still test if it works, because it does not have any sort of interlock or safety mechanism on the NACS latch. This is a completely passive latch, and I checked that with a multimeter. So we'll get into some functional testing here. So let's try this just as far as the CCS side, see how these feel. So this is the Electron adapter first. Nice and firm latch, nice fitment there. This is the Hailing adapter. Again, nice and secure fitment, so CCS seems good. And the A to Z adapter. So this is, again, the most compact, nice and latched, and just like that. So that they all pass, I'd say, as far as that goes. Next up, I'm going to grab an assistant to help me show on the NAC side, but in my preliminary testing, so far, none of them are very good on the NAC side as far as latch fitment and things like that. And I have tried on 2 different charger posts, but I'll show you guys what I mean. Here we have the electron adapter and a Tesla handle. So let me show you how this works. So we have this spring latch. So let's just try it how a normal person would just by putting it in. And that does not work. Even though it has this kind of rounded edge that you would think would lead to being able to just plug it in, you cannot do that. You actually have to release the latch here, then you can put it in. And let's see, just with a normal kind of firm press, if that actually latches. It does not. So let's see if we can get this to latch. Kind of firm push. I'm pushing all my force. I'm a fairly large guy, so I'm putting a fair amount of force here. And let's just try that since I think I accidentally touched the latch. It does not latch. Let's just try it on another supercharger handle here, just to make sure it's not just something wrong with that one. So again, we'll release the latch to put it in. Shove it together to try and get it to latch if it's going to. And this is all the way down. But again, it does not latch, which is concerning to me because you wouldn't actually have to release this latch, which would cut the proximity, which would stop charging, to just pull this right out. So that, I would say, is actually a glaring safety issue here. And I don't know if it's just this particular electron adapter or if this is across all of them. But as a result, I cannot recommend this adapter because I would consider this to be unsafe. Let's go to the other ones. As I already mentioned, this is the Hal-Link adapter, and this one does not have an interlink with the latch and the proximity pilot. So let's just see if the latch actually works. So we again have the NACS handle on the supercharger. We have the latch open. We'll push it in, just try to make sure to get it in all the way. We'll latch, and it's actually latched. So let's try that without shoving it in first. So we'll just put it in kind of normal. We'll latch it, and it's actually latched. So latch performance and kind of ease of use is actually pretty good on this, surprisingly. However, there's no interlock on this latch. So unfortunately, I cannot recommend this adapter either because it's unsafe. And then we have the A to Z adapter. So this one has another slide latch. However, this one actually does have an interlock like the electron adapter that will cut your proximity if that latch is open. So we'll put it in here just like that, and then we'll latch it. And it actually latches. You do have to have that open in order to do that. And it does take a fair amount of force to pull that out, which I guess means that it has pretty good tolerances, which is good. However, it does not lead to the easiest user experience. So overall, I'd say this passes. It has an interlock, so it's safe to use, and it's relatively easy to latch. I still don't love this latch design. I think it's a bit difficult to use for a normal person, and I think it's going to lead to a poor experience for a lot of people because they'll forget to latch that, and then it won't charge, and they'll think there's something wrong with the supercharger, with their vehicle, with the adapter, when really it's just user error and they weren't latching it. And no matter how obvious you make that, it will still lead to confused users. So enough on testing how these work, or how the latches work. Let's actually get to using them. So now for the fun part that you've all been waiting for, actually seeing which one of these charges the vehicle and how well it works. So we'll start with the Hal-Link, the slightly sketchy adapter. So we will plug it in here and then we'll see how it works. So here we have the Hal-Link adapter. Got the supercharger handle. You'll insert it here. Latch has to be open, just like that. We'll latch it, but that just slides. Like if you shook it hard enough, it'd probably unlatch. Yep, it unlatches if you shake it hard enough. So definitely a little sketchy there. Let's see if it actually works. So there we go. We'll come into the vehicle. What it says. Let's So right now we're getting a waiting on charger message there, which seems to me that it's not going to charge. Let's try messing with the latch if you want to stay on the screen there. Any change?
Nope.
So it seems like this adapter actually will not charge the Rivian. So I definitely cannot recommend this adapter because it doesn't even work. Not only is it unsafe if it did work, it doesn't actually work. So I'd say that's a total fail on that adapter. We'll use the Electron here, which again, I do not recommend based on its latch performance, but hopefully it at least works. So we'll insert the Tesla side here. We'll again try and shove it together. Still doesn't latch, so just to show it was not just a one-off. And yeah, we tried on multiple Supercharger handles. I tried putting my entire body weight onto it and it still did not work, but let's see if it works here. So plug-in charge does work on this Rivian, and you don't actually have to do anything to set up that plug-in charge. It actually will just work if you have your Rivian Adventure Network billing set up on Superchargers, which is pretty awesome. So we're starting to charge here. We have power flowing, it's ramping up. And then once we get to 1 kilowatt hour, it will actually start showing the cost of supercharging on here, which is super cool. And a very deep level of integration done by Rivian and Tesla. So we're ramping up. And here we have the ride menu. So you can see that the fast charger, the supercharger, is actually offering 491 amps to the Rivian. And we're currently charging at 380 amps. So that's about all that it wants. Looks like the battery's maybe a little bit cold at the 27%. So nothing too crazy there. That's about expected. But the important part here is that the adapter does in fact work. And now we're going to switch to the A to Z adapter. But first we'll try stopping by using the latch. So again, we have this latch here, and as I tested with a multimeter, it does actually interrupt the signal when you press it. So just like that, it stopped charging. That is firm. Oh, helps if I undo the CCS latch. Minor details. And now we're switching to the A to Z adapter. So we'll plug it in here with the latch open, just like that. We'll slide the latch closed. And you can see it's firm and nice and in there. Just like that. So it should start charging here in a second. We'll go to the car screen. So starting to charge. So this is what it should look like when you're charging, unlike with the Halink adapter that said it was waiting on charger. So we have successful plug-in charge authentication there. And then we're seeing 489 available amps to the vehicle. It's ramping up over 200 now. You can see the voltage is going up as the current is going up, which is normal. And then once this crosses 1 kilowatt hour, that's when you'll start seeing the cost accrued showing there. At least it should in just a moment here. Maybe it has to go a little bit over a kilowatt hour. There we go. So there we have that 0.49 cents, or sorry, 49 cents. I don't know why I said that so strange. And then that will keep going up. And there we are ramping up as well. So 190 kilowatts, 450 amps out of 489. And then, yeah, 188 kilowatts, which is exactly what you'd expect at 28% with a slightly cold battery. We're only at 29C. So as that ramps up, we've got someone filming us charging with the Rivian. It's kind of funny, even though there's a Cybertruck next to us. And you can see that continually going up there. So it is in fact working. So we've been charging for a few minutes here, and you can see that we've actually got a little bit of a hot spot going on the NACS handle, which is normal. The handle's getting a bit warm and nothing too crazy. And then we do have a little bit of warming up going on the adapter itself. So nothing alarming, I would say. And I just want to show, so here again without the thermal camera side. So this is kind of where it's getting warm or on the NACS side, but nothing at all alarming, I would say. And what's interesting is that the DC pins actually have to cross sides on any of these adapters. So the DC pins on the CCS side, I'll just show you here for reference, are actually on opposite sides here. So they have to cross from the top of the port to the bottom of the port, and they have to cross sides. So the plus and minus are on opposite sides for NACS and CCS. So makes the construction of these a little bit trickier than it may seem on the surface. So we've added 40 kilowatt hour. I just want to show the cable here, that the cable itself is pretty warm on the thermal camera. So you can see just how warm it is with that 2. And then we're coming over to the adapter. So that is pretty warm, about 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Definitely nothing worth being alarmed about. You do have a little bit of a hot spot here, but nothing that's concerning at all. And it's a pretty warm day today. It's actually about 75 degrees out and sunny. So we have both thermal load and we have charging load, and we've added over 40 kilowatt hours. So I would say nothing to be concerned about as far as thermal capability. So we've been charging up for a little while here on the A to Z adapter. I'd say this is the only third-party adapter on the market right now that I can recommend. Does sound like A to Z is working on improving the latch, so I think that will be probably a better offer on the market soon. But if you're looking for one today, especially ahead of your Tesla adapter, this is the one to buy. There will be a discount code down below, so that way you guys can get a better deal. It does help out the channel a little bit as well. And inevitably, someone's going to ask about the Tesla official adapter. And the Tesla official adapter, while I don't have one here today, I have had a chance to get my hands on it. This is just the Electron one. But it's pretty similar overall to some of these other ones. However, the way that the Tesla one has an interlock is that there's actually a pin between the CCS side DC pins that pushes back and actually interlocks with the NACS side latch. So I don't believe there's an electrical interlock. However, there is a physical interlock. So with the Tesla official adapter, you have to plug the adapter onto the Tesla cable first, then plug it into the vehicle. You cannot physically release the Tesla cable from the adapter until the entire unit is removed from the vehicle. So that's how that one manages to be safe. It is a pretty hefty adapter, just like the A to Z one. Feels not great build quality wise compared to the A to Z. The A to Z actually feels a lot more solid. And of course the Tesla one, at least for now, for Ford and Rivian owners, is free. So it's pretty hard to compete with that. However, those are taking a while to ship. So right now, if you want one immediately, if you have summer road trips planned, or you just want to be able to use your Rivian or Ford on Tesla Superchargers or whatever other vehicles come next, then these are your choices. And of the choices available today that I've been able to get my hands on, the A to Z is the only one that I can recommend. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. See you guys in the next one.